Hey everybody, do you ever just scroll through Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or whatever other social media platform you use, and you see a meme that is so bafflingly beyond the point of sense and sanity that you kind of just sit back and say to yourself, how did we get here? Well, today I'm going to be doing a bit of a deep dive on memes and the way that they've changed throughout the many years that they've been one of the main forms of online content. And I'm going to be looking at memes starting in 2012-ish because that is when I think that the internet really became what it is today. And I'll be ending by looking at memes from present day. And just a little disclaimer, this will probably be very America focused because that is the experience I have with all this stuff. So just know I'm speaking from an American perspective. Kind of cringe. All right, now we can get into it. But first, why don't you go check and see if you're subscribed, because 64% of the people watching my videos aren't subscribed to my channel. So that's kind of an issue. So scroll down, hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and hit the bell, because that helps me too. And don't you want to help me out? All right, back to the video. Gotcha, you fucking idiot. All right, this time's for real. Enjoy the video. "2012 was the biggest year for growth of the internet up until this point. There were so many huge world events and important moments for pop culture in this year, like the 2012 Summer Olympics, which were literally the most popular Olympics ever, in the 2012 US presidential election, and the biggest and most impactful event of the year, Gangnam Style. This year also saw the rise of apps like Instagram, which was bought by Facebook in 2012, and YouTube growing to the point where creators are starting to be able to make a living on the website. And this kind of represents the larger movement toward online media as a major pillar of communication and media consumption. And one of the reasons I wanted to start by looking at 2012 specifically is because this was really the first year that I was fully consciously engaged in what was happening online, which embarrassingly enough started with me being an avid iFunny user and taking all of my favorite memes from there and reposting them on the Instagram account I made at way too young of an age. Among the memes that I would post on this Instagram account were some classics: Rage Comics, Bad Luck Brian, Velociraptor, that one Keanu Reeves meme because I like that one a lot, and you can never go wrong with some good old top text, bottom text memes. Some other popular memes at the time were that overly attached girlfriend meme, Grumpy Cat, calling Justin Bieber gay, Chuck Norris memes, Coney 2012 was huge, and the theory that the world was going to end in 2012 was definitely a popular topic on iFunny in that time. All in all, I think that this is the year that everybody thinks about when people reference like the early stage of memes. So then we move on to In 2013, there were not nearly as many culturally significant and enriching events, but there were still quite a few. This was the year that Vine was released, which definitely shaped the internet a ton, and its impact is still felt to this day, with apps like TikTok having a huge Vine influence. And former Viners like the Paul brothers, Danny Gonzalez and Drew Gooden, and Cody and Noel, among others, being huge online figures that are still chugging along. Beyonce also performed at the Super Bowl this year, and that generated the meme of unflattering Beyonce, which was basically only a big deal because it was like the one moment she didn't look perfect, and for some reason we all had to scrutinize her for that. Aside from that, this was also the year that the Harlem Shake overtook every single family, classroom, sports team, and even Mitch McConnell's re-election campaign team. What a world it is that we live in, where Filthy Frank of all people can start an internet trend and it gets remade by the people who are responsible for getting one of the worst humans reelected multiple times. Anyways, this was also the year of Pharrell because he was involved in massive hits like Get Lucky, Blurred Lines, and of course the unforgettable and inescapable Happy. Also in the world of music, we saw the return of Miley Cyrus, with her post-Disney star rebel/appropriator phase, with songs like We Can't Stop and Wrecking Ball, which were both meme to shit. And all of this culminated in the 2013 VMAs, where Miley Cyrus took the stage with Robin Thicke, and they put on one of the most memorable VMAs performances ever, just not for many great reasons. This performance is like burned into my mind, not just because of how jarring it was to see Miley Cyrus twerking on Robin Thicke, but also because of how much I saw these images online for the months to come. Because the internet went wild with the body shaming and the slut shaming of Miley Cyrus after the show. Yeah, 2013 was not great for dispelling misogyny in any way whatsoever. And to end the year, the picture of a Shiba Inu that we all know as Doge became super popular. And everybody was having fun making their own versions of the Doge format. And it got so big that at the meme's peak, I had a Doge t-shirt. That's so lame. Also, I have a theory that Doge popularized talking like a fucking lols, :3, cutesy idiot, and like popularized phrases like heckin' pupper and doggo or chonker, which I detest. And for that, I will never forgive Doge, alongside the crypto shit, but we'll get into that later because now it's time to move on to 2014 was probably the slowest year for memes since before 2012, because I think this was the year that like Twitter started to become the hub for memes. So a lot of the biggest trends were super boring reposted tweets that nobody cares about. As a whole, memes were still largely based around current events, pop culture, and relatability, and were more widely accepted in the minds of mainstream media because during this era, memes or trends would go viral and end up on like the fucking Today Show or some shit. Like the biggest internet thing from this year was probably the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, which was huge. Like literally everybody did it. I did it. LeBron James did it. George Bush did it. He also did the Ice Bucket Challenge. That's 2 videos in a row. I gotta chill with these jokes. This was also the year that the first Five Nights at Freddy's game came out, which took the internet by its animatronic balls and honestly still has not let go to this day. And of course, through Five Nights at Freddy's, gaming YouTubers like Markiplier rose to astronomical heights. And from that, we got this breathtakingly amazing clip.
Was that the bite of 87?
That clip will never not be hilarious to me. And it's honestly kind of crazy how much this very rudimentary game that looks like the hot dog stand game I used to play in middle school computer class changed the internet. Like seriously, there are like 50 game theory videos about these games. Like that's insane. I have like 12 videos on my channel total, but imagine if I had 5 times that amount and they were all about the same exact thing. And they had millions of views per video. It's crazy the impact that such a small game had on the entire internet. Anyways, it's time we look at Alright, so 2015 is when I think that the meme culture landscape really starts to resemble the current state of things on the internet today. Since this was the year that things like dank memes gained lots of popularity, with Pepe the Frog being a huge reason for that, which stemmed off into things like rare Pepes, which was pretty much just different variations of the original Pepe that people would post with captions like, "Behold, the rarest Pepe," and shit like that. And looking back now, this kind of sounds a little like NFTs before NFTs were a thing. But don't worry, rare Pepes have since been made into NFTs.
Oh my god, that's so Jesus fucking Christ. Why the fuck would anyone do this? Holy shit.
Among other big memes from this year were things like Left Shark from the Super Bowl, Poot Lovato, Hotline Bling memes, which still pop up to this day, and of course, the picture of the dress that got everybody fucking pissed. There were also a ton of classic vines that blew up this year that I still can't unhear from being in grade school when they went viral. Since everybody was yelling, "These nuts, what are those? He needs some milk," and "Oh my god, he on X Game mode." This was also the year that Donald Trump and Kanye West announced that they'd be running for president, so there was a weird sense of darkness starting to creep up on the internet, and that would continue on into In 2016, something shifted. When I looked back at this year, I noticed that there were a lot of grim moments for humanity. From the amount of gigantic and beloved celebrities that passed away in this year, to the Trump campaign making white supremacists feel comfortable publicly flaunting their hatred. And unfortunately, I think that the internet had a huge part to play in this rise of the racists. Because things like racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia, they were all repackaged as dark humor, which was at its peak in 2016. And it's interesting because dark humor as it was in 2016 was kind of popularized as a heel to the type of content that places like BuzzFeed were putting out in this year, with channels like H3H3 kind of inadvertently contributing to and promoting this by making several videos dunking on BuzzFeed-like content about social issues. But I do want to counter that by saying that
I was a big H3 fan at the time, and I did not fall down any dark humor, alt-right rabbit holes like some other people did. So in order for that to happen, I think you already have to have a lot of hate deep inside of you to begin with.
So yeah, this was a really productive year for white supremacists, as they took a page out of the US military's book and started preying on kids with troubled home lives to fill their ranks. They also made Pepe the Frog racist, so that sucks. Yeah, this year was very combative in a lot of ways, with one of the most hate-fueled election cycles that I have ever seen between Trump and Hillary Clinton. And with the disproportionate amount of black people being killed by police finally getting a larger spotlight shown on it, a larger discussion of race in America had started. And somehow, that became a controversial topic. Because here in America, you have the freedom to be the worst person you can be. Anyways, the memes of this year were pretty good. We got that Bernie versus Hillary format, more Drake memes, Caveman SpongeBob, Spinning Mr. Krabs, the B-movie and copy pastas in general, like the Fitnessgram Pacer Test, the Arthur Fist, Robbie Rotten / We Are Number One, Damn Daniel, and my personal favorite, Dat Boy. Not to mention the whole Harambe situation, which was kind of a weird thing to make a meme out of, but it happened. And Pokemon Go also had its 15 minutes of fame in the summer of 2016. I have a sort of bittersweet relationship with 2016 because while so many horrible things happened and so many future horrible things were caused by things that happened in 2016, it was a really good year for me as an individual, and I still have a ton of great memories from it. And every time I hear the song from the Running Man Challenge or from the old H3 outro, it makes me feel so nostalgic for this time in my life, because it was really the first year that I was able to be independent and do a lot of cool shit with my friends, and that was a lot of fun for me. With that said, this year was definitely a turning point for internet culture as a whole, and I'm not too sure if that was a good thing or not, because in a lot of ways, this year was kind of the beginning of the end. 2017 was kind of the unfunniest year of memes, honestly. Like, the most popular memes were Salt Bae and Cash Me Outside, how about that, and like mocking SpongeBob. A lot of the memes were again centered around Twitter, which usually means it was a bad year for internet comedy. And when the Snapchat hot dog is one of the biggest memes of the year, you know nothing else was going on. But we still got deep fried memes, which I love dearly. Absurdism in memes became way more popular during this year as everything began to make less and less sense in the real world. And fidget spinners, Rick and Morty, and eating Tide Pods were also among some of the biggest trends of 2017. This was also the year that PewDiePie had a gamer moment and fucked YouTube up big time. The Me Too movement also started in this year, which some people might call the beginning of cancel culture, while normal people call it not being complicit in sexual assault and harassment. So yeah, 2017, not really the most impactful year on the internet, but it really makes it feel like something big is about to happen. Perhaps in Japan. Maybe on the first day of... Logan Paul's Japan vlog. We all know what happened. I don't think I really have to go very deep into it. Just know that Logan Paul is now a crypto shill and is gentrifying Puerto Rico. Logan Paul is a bad person. Moving on from that, the memes of 2018 were very much centered around phrases and tweets with things like weird flex but okay and if you can't handle me at my worst, blah blah blah. You all remember it. It was like 4 years ago. This was also the year of Fortnite, with Ninja becoming one of the biggest online figures and somehow playing the game with Drake, which makes no sense. And every child in America was trying to follow in Ninja's footsteps. So this kind of brought back the cringing type of memes that were used back when Minecraft first got popular. And I think bringing back such a classic internet thing like dunking on children really paved the way for something like post-ironic memes to become the main format of telling jokes. With the return of impact font and those memes with that black border that used to be on motivational posters, and shit from like rage comics like the Troll Face and Wojaks. And bringing back all these early meme formats really led us down the shitposting rabbit hole, where we basically just type shit out in impact font, put it over a cursed image, deep fried it, and called it a day. And I think the best example of this is... This was also the year that we got Big Chungus, which definitely helped the spread of shitposting. Aside from all that stuff, we also got Ugandan Knuckles, T-posing, a ton of Avengers memes. Sadly, we used Steven Crowder's dumb idiot face to present our hot takes with that Change My Mind meme. We got Old Town Road, which was literally the biggest song ever. And my least favorite meme of all time, they did surgery on a grape. I hope we can now look back at They Did Surgery on a Grape and agree on how unfunny it was. Well, that's about it for 2018, so let's hop on over to 2019 was the year that TikTok became a major platform for sharing memes. Before this, it was really only used by people making dancing or lip syncing videos like the D'Amelios or Addison Rae, and by people strictly using it ironically, but this was when it started to be a real space that everyone was hopping onto. This is where big memes like OK Boomer and the gamer girl obsession started to become more popular, which, you know, led to some other endeavors. The rise of post-ironic shitposts also continued into this year, which was definitely my favorite part. I mean, look at these. Wow. That's fucking crazy. This was also the year that people tried to organize a storming of Area 51, which had some great memes, but the actual event ended up being a pretty chill hangout of people just having a good time out in the middle of nowhere. Some other big internet moments from this year were Jeffrey Epstein's death, which of course spawned the Epstein didn't kill himself joke. Yoda surprisingly had a large amount of memes about him for some reason, as well as Baby Yoda because The Mandalorian came out this year. And Joker memes got really big after Joaquin Phoenix's Joker movie released. We also saw the return of Minecraft, which was brought along by people like Call Me Carson and PewDiePie, two very unproblematic figures if you ask me. Can't even say it with a straight face, dude. This Minecraft resurgence kind of perfectly encapsulates this whole post-ironic movement that the internet was experiencing, with all these references and callbacks to a time where the internet felt way smaller and more fun. So 2019 for me kind of had a generally positive feel to it, with all the reminiscing and just general fun everybody seemed to be having online, which hadn't really been the vibe of the internet for a very long time. But that feeling would quickly fade toward the end of 2019, because that was when news broke that there was a new, highly infectious coronavirus discovered in China, which in turn sparked a huge wave of horribly racist memes about the whole situation, with everybody posting shit like, when the Asian kid in class coughs, or shit like, when the Chinese kid pulls out a bat for lunch. And I felt like I was going crazy because everybody just seemed to be okay with it. It was so bad, and it feels even darker, especially considering the impact that things like this and the things that Donald Trump was spewing at the beginning of COVID had on anti-Asian hate crimes in 2020 and 2021. Like, it got so bad that random bigots on the street were able to see through my racial ambiguity, to call me the right slur, and to blame me for this entire pandemic. And I'm only half Asian. So yeah, 2019 didn't really have a great ending, but hey, I'm sure that the start of a new decade will give us a nice reset. How bad could it be? Okay, I think I spoke too soon. So, I don't think I need to remind you guys of very much from 2020. I think we all have a pretty good understanding of what went down. Yeah, 2020 was probably one of the most significant years ever in pretty much every way. From the COVID-19 pandemic to the protests against racial injustice and systemic racism to the most contested US election probably ever. I don't fucking know or want to think about it anymore. We had ourselves quite the year. I think there was a major shift in the way that the majority of people view the world after 2020. It kind of forced people to look more critically at life and the way that everything operates, given that while so many people were dying or being thrown into poverty every day, people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk were doubling their already way too high net worths. Basically everything that happened in 2020 was a catalyst for radicalization, one way or another, and I don't think that things will ever be as divided as they were in 2020. But enough about that nonsense. This video is about memes. So yeah, as you can imagine, there were a ton of memes about the changes to everyday life everyone had to make due to the pandemic. Like jokes about toilet paper being hoarded or about Zoom, as well as all the shows that people were watching like Tiger King. And during the several never-ending months of the pandemic, lots and lots of more people started to gravitate toward TikTok. And everyone was trying trends and hacks and recipes to pass the time. And all these new eyes on TikTok really launched the platform to the top of the social media leaderboards. As TikTok became the new hub of content, and serialized single image memes kind of took a backseat to all of the trends that the app had. This was also the year that Among Us really blew up, and it replaced Fortnite and FNAF as the game that kids are playing that merchandise companies can capitalize on, along with spawning so many fucking memes. Like, I will never look at any trash cans or fire alarms the same. It's almost like I have a new talent now where I can spot any imposter shaped things in any image you show me. Anyways, let's move past this hellish year of piss and shit and let's start a new year where things will surely get better. Alright, so I don't feel like laying out all of the cultural details of 2021, mostly because we all just lived it, and like most people, I had a really bad time in 2021, as the reality of the situation that the world was in really got me hard. Hit me hard. God damn it. But I will tell you guys the biggest event of 2021. I started making YouTube videos. Who knows how much worse this year would have been if I had never hit upload. You're welcome. Anyways, I'm just gonna list all of the biggest memes and shit that happened in 2021, since we all probably remember all this shit pretty well. We had inauguration memes. We pulled the Wall Street equivalent to a ratio with the GameStop thing. Whisper app confessions became a wildly popular way to say the craziest things our crazy little freak brains could come up with. Dream made that terrible song.
That's what the mask is. That's what the point of the mask is.
Don't take those normal pills, girl. That's right, girl. Throw away that Zoloft. You don't need it. That boat blocked that canal and made everything a little bit more expensive. This Anakin and Padme meme. Virgin versus Chad memes really popped off. People realized that money is fake and that with enough insider trading from everybody's favorite Blood Emerald tycoon, you can make a shitcoin like Dogecoin pop off. And thus everyone tried to make their own cryptocurrency scams, and when they got sick of that, they just started making NFTs, which definitely are not a money laundering scheme meant to make rich people more rich. DaBaby was a meme until he revealed himself to be a homophobe. Lots of shit about the COVID vaccine. People talking about how much of a dead person Prince Philip looked like. And then he died.
Buckingham Palace has announced the death of His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh.
Astronaut in the ocean became the modern Rickroll. All that alpha sigma male bullshit. Amogus second wave, Amogus third wave, Squid Game, devious licks and angelic yields, gaslight gatekeep girl boss, the urge to, which just boiled down to the gendered urge to do a normal thing, the meme of those two dudes sitting on the different sides of the bus, yassifying literally every photo possible, L plus ratio plus etc., The Rock and his rap, and adding the suffix ussy to every single word. That was actually a lot of shit. I'm kind of surprised. But it's not surprising that, we did a lot of memeing to stop ourselves from thinking about the state of the world. Because, man, did we need to distract ourselves big time. Alright, it's time to move on to the current year of...
We're still in a pandemic.
So far in 2022, not much has really had a huge cultural impact that I'm able to, perceive in the current moment. But who knows? Maybe we'll look back at this year and be like, whoa, dude, when they made that Eminem less sexy to cover up those child slavery allegations, that should change the fucking game, bro. But I doubt it. In terms of the state of the internet, we're kind of dipping our toes into the post-ironic era. Like, look at this. What the fuck? I'm not used to seeing genuine sentiment like this shared on the internet. What's happening? As for memes, things like Wordle, Euphoria, and Willem Dafoe have been dominating, as well as things like the no bitches Megamind man clowning on Kanye for his horrible behavior, quirked up white boy busting it down sexual style, pondering my orb, and the who up playing with a worm format have all been highly popular in the first couple months of 2022, and TikTok continues to be the most relevant online platform to this point. It's very interesting to see the progression of memes and these trends over time. Like, there was definitely a point where mainstream things and actually relevant internet things really splintered off and became completely separate entities. Like, while I was reading through like super shitty lists of like the best memes from each year from like these super millennial-y publications, I realized that as the years went on and got closer to present day, I recognized less and less of the memes and trends because the actual most popular memes were far more obscure and niche than whatever these dumbass articles were listing. This might have always been the case, but I'm terminally online and I have been for the last decade. So I would know like what was relevant and what wasn't. And I'm also super cool and based and good with the sauce. So I know what all the cool kids are laughing at, and it's not whatever the fuck this shit is. So yeah, the internet has grown to a point where there are so many trends, especially on TikTok, that it's nearly impossible to really know all of the things that are happening and relevant at any given time. And yeah, there are definitely a lot of horrible moments in memes over the last decade, with a lot of them being extremely mean-spirited or downright racist, misogynistic, homophobic, transphobic, basically any phobic or ist there is, because the internet is a bad place sometimes. But it's also a place where we can sometimes come together and make funny ha-has about all of our shared experiences through some of the worst moments in history. Isn't that cool? Say it's cool, please, to make me feel better about this existence. So yeah, that does it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would really appreciate it if you like and subscribe and comment what your favorite meme was over the last decade. All right, thank you for watching, and I hope you come back for my next video. Bye.